learned about this when I was digging into this because I don't know much about Venezuela, but I wanted to learn about the history. So I was like, okay, let me do some searches on the internet and see what they're telling us in the news versus like what the history books are saying. And so it was like, well, I can't remember what year, but like Hugo Chavez came to power as like the socialist party in Venezuela, and he started nationalizing the oil, and then he started doing programs to like, improve, life expectancy and other important metrics in the country, like making people like earn more money, all this stuff. So like people's what do they call this? They call them
quality of life.
Yes, people's quality of life was improving in Venezuela, but the U.S. didn't like the fact that they were socialists, so we don't want socialism. So then the Obama administration actually deemed Venezuela like an enemy to America. So then we started sanctioning them. So once we started sanctioning them, they had to start doing deals with other countries that weren't a part of the U.S. system. So they started doing deals with like Russia and China. And now fast forward 20 years later, we're like, these guys are selling oil to China. They're selling oil to Russia. We don't like this. But then you look back like, well, you forced them to sell them to those countries. Those are the only countries that aren't a part of your bloc. So then those are the only countries they could sell it to. So then they're like, oh, the Venezuelan economy is so bad. Everybody lives in poverty. It was like part of the reason for that is like, you don't allow them to trade with any of our allies.
Right. We cut them off at a time when they were growing.
Yeah, exactly.
But why would we want to stop them from growing stronger, do you feel like?
Well, because their government was socialist. So now all of a sudden you have a socialist regime
that's doing well
right in sort of your backyard area, which is not ideal for sort of our capitalist kind of style. Like you don't want an example of that here. That's just my opinion. So then they started sanctioning. So it's a bipartisan thing. It's not just Trump government. Obama government started this, right? With the sanctioning, Trump added on.
Got it.
Made it more, robust, the sanctions. And then all of a sudden, wow, we got to get this guy out of power because, he's smuggling drugs or something like that. But also he was very open about the oil. Like he's like, we got to get the oil. But then part of it also too, I think is the Israel part is like a side piece, but it does play an important piece. It's basically—
What do you mean the Israel part?
So like basically whatever country that opposes Israel, they basically tell us like, we got to take that country out. We got to do a regime change. So like a lot of that is in the Middle East, but there's some other countries, for example, in Venezuela, they are very opposed to the Israeli government. Maduro was very open about calling what's happening in Gaza a genocide. And so they're like, we got to get rid of this. And this is something I learned 20 years ago. There was an opposition guy, I can't remember his name, but he was running for president, and the media kind of slandered him or they smeared him as a homosexual and a Zionist. So to me, that's like, okay, that means within the Venezuelan culture, Zionism is a bad thing. They're ascribing to this guy. So I think Israel will come in and say, hey, this is a country that doesn't really support our existence. We should do a regime change.
I see. So you're thinking that part of this was that Israel wanted to come in and have some effect on a country that doesn't support them.
Exactly. You see that happening with other countries that are not. I mean, Iran is probably the main one right now. That's like the last of their list. I saw you talking to Dave Smith about this, right? There's like a list of 7 countries in the
from like the neocons and stuff like that, like wanting to take over.
Yeah, exactly. So then Iran is on that list. So it's like, that's why we got to take it out, even though we have no nuclear weapons at this point, supposedly. They told us.
They did? Well, I mean, one of the things is Henry Capriles.
Thank you. Yes, this is the guy I was talking about.
Enrique Capriles Radonsky is a Venezuelan politician and lawyer who served as the 36th governor of Miranda. He ran against Nicolas Maduro in Venezuela's 2013 presidential election. Maduro and his supporters spread rumors about Capriles' homosexuality as a smear tactic, including public slurs. Enrique Capriles Radonsky was labeled a Zionist by Venezuelan state media and Chavez Maduro allies. These accusations framed him as tied to international Zionism, often alongside his Jewish heritage. Oh, so he was a Jewish guy, despite his Catholic faith. Huh. Well, it seemed like they shouldn't have done that to him, but I guess that's how the media works, right?
That's how the media works, yeah. If the state-controlled media, which we have a lot of nowadays with like CBS News is sort of, I would say, state-controlled media since it was sold off to Larry Ellison.
Yeah, Barry Weiss started controlling over there. How do you feel about that's been since she took over, kind of?
Well, it hasn't really worked out. I think once she took it over, it was very overtly clear what they were trying to do, right? They were doing pieces that were saying good stuff about Marco Rubio. They were hailing him as some kind of genius guy. They were also doing pro-Israel propaganda. So it was I think it's very clear to people who consume the news what was going on. And it's actually, I think that's a playbook that's maybe a little bit outdated because not that many people get their news directly from CBS News anymore. There's like, that crowd is decreasing. It's like old people. I don't want to say.
Yeah, no. Well, a lot of people don't even have cable anymore. I don't even know where you would find it. Some of it is, I don't even know where you'd find it. It's like it used to be you knew where the news channels were.
It used to be like you knew who the nightly anchor was at all these news, like the Walter Cronkites or the
and now it's
Peter
confusing.
Jennings,
now you have like
Peter
Don
Jennings.
Lemon like tickling some guy in a church or whatever, you know? Just trying to like tickle the holy water out of some honky or whatever. And you're like, what is even happening anymore?
So I think it's just an outdated strategy. They think, oh, I want to buy the news so I can control the news.
Got it.
But it turns out people don't really like that. People know that. And that's the same thing that happened to the Washington Post too, right? Jeff Bezos bought the Washington Post. He thought they were going to be able to do kind of pro Bezos propaganda for him. Turns out all his viewers or readers hated that. They canceled. And now, I think they just laid off like a third of their staff.
Wow. And a lot of that media, it's just older media.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of like some of that realm is changing. It's just like, not a changing of the guard, but it's like, people want to come and just listen to something in a place where they feel like it's not being controlled anyway. You know?
And I think there's that way is old. So then there's other ways they're trying to subversively control independent media as well. And we can get into that.
While you're still practicing new year, new routines, have you ever stopped to think about what your shower water is doing to your skin and hair? Most people spend thousands every year on skin care and hair care, trying to fix dryness, breakouts, and dull hair. Dull hair? Without realizing the real problem starts before the products even go on. It's the quality of your shower water. And that's where Jolie comes in. Jolie is a beauty wellness company with a clinically proven filtered shower head designed to remove chlorine and heavy metals that can damage your skin and hair. It installs in minutes, fits all showers, looks great, delivers amazing pressure, thank you, and now starts at just $98. Head to jolieskinco.com/Theo to get yours. That's JOLIESKINCO.com/Theo. And if you or your loved one doesn't love it, you can return it for a full refund within 60 days, no questions asked. Wow. It's also available on Amazon. Start the year with better water. Get Jolie for $98 today. Look, when your company is growing fast, order fulfillment can make or break your success. ShipStation's intelligence-driven platform brings order management, rate shopping, inventory and returns, warehouse systems, and comprehensive analytics all in one place. Wow. Saving customers 15 hours per week on fulfillment. That's huge. With ShipStation, everything you need to manage getting orders to customers is in one place. Connect to over 200 sales channels instead of 5 to 7 disconnected tools. You've now got one tool. It's doing it all. ShipStation compares rates across all major global carriers, UPS, USPS, and FedEx, to find you the best shipping option on every order, and with discounts up to 90% off. Try ShipStation free for 60 days with full access to all features. Yup. No credit card needed. Go to ShipStation.com and use code Theo for 60 days for free. 60 days gives you plenty of time to see exactly how much time and money you're saving on every single shipment. That's ShipStation.com, code Theo. ShipStation.com, code Theo.
There's other ways they're trying to subversively control independent media as well, and we can get into that if you want later on.
Well, yeah, I mean, you got deplatformed, so that was from TikTok, you said, and it was from something that was...
Well, I think it was related to me being named Anti-Semite of the Week.
Okay.
And I think they have like tight connections because TikTok's moderation team is run by an IDF soldier. Ex-IDF. Yeah. She was hired recently to run moderation at TikTok. She's an American who moved to Israel, then got Israeli citizenship. There it is.
Erica Mindell. That's a pretty name. IDF soldier, public policy manager of hate speech at TikTok. Well, did you say something that was hate speech?
Well, according to them, yes, because I've been really critical of the Israeli government, the genocide, all these subversive tactics. They lied to us about all kinds of stuff. So I do report on that, and that is now considered hate speech at TikTok.
So
I'm criticizing the Netanyahu government, right, for what they've done. That is now considered, because of the definition. Now they're basically saying anti-Zionism is anti-Semitism. That is the definition that they're all adopting, including like the ADL. So if I criticize the government, that's sort of a proxy for criticism of Jewish people.
Well, to me, that seems bizarre. I mean, I'm at the Comedy Store last night and people are having jokes that are anti-Israel and the crowd is going nuts, right? The entire crowd is cheering in those moments. It seems to be a very popular sentiment that people aren't going to support a government that's doing what I believe is largely believed by most people these days to be a genocide, or to be some people will call it a new Holocaust or whatever. People call it different things, right?
Right.
But that most people believe that it's wrong, right? People saw it. You can't trick my heart. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
It's just like, if the media's been telling me for years with a Holocaust definition that this is wrong, then you can't show me the same thing and say it's not wrong for some reason. But also to not attach that to my Jewish friends. Like, I had Jewish friends who are in the audience this weekend, and I make anti-Israel jokes, and none of my friends have a problem with it, So I don't know how one really connects to the other, and I don't know if is that a problem of someone who's just trying to have a voice, or is that an Israel's problem that they need to figure out with their own behaviors? Does that make any sense to you?
Yeah. I know exactly what you're saying. I think part of it is too, it's kind of a little bit dark, I think, what I'm about to say, but I think part of them wants to create more anti-Semitism. That's like sort of the goal, is like, you are not anti-Semitic at all. You don't have any hatred towards Jewish people. You think everybody should be